So everybody's freaking out after preseason game one about Anthony Richardson. Everybody's looking at the stat line. Titans fans talking about Will Levis, and Texans fans, and Jags fans, and everybody talking about Anthony Richardson. I'm going to quote Aaron Rodgers and just tell everyone to relax. RELAX. All that and more on this, the No Horsing Around podcast.
Thank you.
All right, so everyone seems to be kind of like freaking out a little bit. Not really inside Colts Nation and the No Horseman family, but outside about the stat line and how Anthony Richardson looked in preseason game one. I think it's important to note, right? Like he went to what? What did he go? 2 for 4 for 25 yards, right? He played 2 series, and it's the first time he's played since October of last year when he got hurt. 300 plus days since he's been able to play a game. He's rusty. I know there's a lot of people out there who are talking, oh, well, the hype train comes to a complete halt. Well, move the goalpost now, talking about how he's rusty. No. Like we all expected it. The hype train's there because of the talent and what they expect him to potentially do. Doesn't mean there's not going to be speed bumps in the road on the way to that destination, right? It doesn't mean that he's not going to have an outing like this. He played 2 series. He threw the ball 4 times. How are you going to get any kind of read out of that? I mean, Titans fans out there talking about Will Levis and his 2 touchdown drives and all of that. But, he lowers his shoulder. He does something stupid, and no one really talks about that. But with Anthony Richardson, you look at his stat line and people are like, oh, my God, just relax, you guys. It's preseason. Let's look back over the last 2 weeks of training camp and how he's looked. He's had good days. He's had really good days. He's had bad days, and he's had some pretty bad days. Overall, he's looked pretty decent in training camp. This upcoming week, this week, we're going to get a much better idea of how he looks, not because of the game, because I do not expect him to play in the game. I don't expect any of the starters to really play in the game because they're having joint practices. We're going to see a lot come out of Grand Park. We're going to see a lot come out of training camp this week because of the fact that they're doing those joint practices. How does he look? How does the defense look? How's the team look? Because you can script this up. How does he look in a 3rd and long? How does he look in a 1st and goal from the 10? How does he respond? You're going to see a lot more. I know there are going to be people who are going to argue back with me a little bit on this of he should absolutely play in this game this weekend because he needs snaps. But at what cost would it be to put him into the preseason game where he's playing against backups, probably playing against backup players with his backups and a real potential that he could, something could go wrong. The best stat line wasn't his, but the best stat line coming out of the game one was 18 starters and no injuries, right? Like you didn't hear anything serious coming out of the game. No one was hurt. So everyone just needs to relax when it comes to looking at how he looked in game one, because you have to take so much into account, right? It's the preseason. He played 2 series. He got the ball to throw the ball 4 times. And let's add on one more fact. Shane Steichen, right? Do you think there is any place on God's green earth that he is going to tip a hand on what that playbook actually looks like with Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor? Anything but vanilla would be an utter shock that they would put out there. They're going to be as vanilla as possible. He's not going to run the ball, which we know he's going to run the ball, and his legs are very much going to be part of the game in the regular season. So you're looking at the most basic offense ever playing against backups, right? I'm singling out Will Levis because everyone's just tooting that horn. He played against backups. The Niners started nobody, right? So, you have to take into account, yes, he needs snaps. Yes, he does need to play, but he needs to play in the regular season. He doesn't need to play in this game. He's going to get valuable time in the joint practices. But everyone who's flying off the handle after one game, just just breathe, man. Like we got two more games, two more weeks of preseason, and then it gets real. Then you can attack some of these things and you can talk if he doesn't show up or you doesn't do that. You're into the regular season, and that's when everything matters. So I want to hear from you guys. Like, is anybody freaking out? Like, I'm not. Like, is anybody freaking out about this 2 for 4 stat line, or is this a manufactured thing by the national media or by my local media here in Tennessee? Right? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear from you guys. As always, you guys, please like, share, follow, subscribe, all those things. Um, Make sure you follow us, the show, on Instagram and X and Twitter. Not Twitter. Twitter is X. Threads. That's another big one. Follow myself on there at Stephen Burton 86, at No Horsing Around Podcast, at No Horsing Around _ podcast. They're all over the place. You can find it in the description. We'd love to interact with you on there. And as always, you guys, I love you. I know Anthony Richardson loves you. And I know the Colts love you. And I'm out.